In this video, I'll give you my top draft strategy for 2024 redraft leagues. I'm Jim Coventry of RotoWire. Now, draft strategy point number one is the running backs. There are only 3 running backs this year that I trust enough to spend my early round pick on. Now, of course, these players are usually gone by the middle of the first round, but I will target them definitely. Of course, Christian McCaffrey at pick number 1. It was like 20 PPR points in almost every game he played last year. Yes, he's aging, but again, hang your hat on Christian McCaffrey carrying your team. Breece Hall's the next one. With the Jets, they upgrade their offensive line, big additions in the offseason. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers is there and healthy. If not, they can lean on Tyrod Taylor a little bit. But nonetheless, Breece Hall should see a lot more room to run than he did last year when teams were stacking the box. Hall is a superstar. Plain and simple, a year removed from ACL. Bijan Robinson. I know last year was a disappointment, but you bring in Zach Robinson of the Rams to coach the offense. You bring in Kirk Cousins to help keep defenses honest. Bijan Robinson should be using the 3-down role. I trust all 3 of those players. Now, if I draft one, I am going to go with my strategy called, it's not my strategy, it's called the hero running back strategy. That's where you take one stud running back, and then you hope to get elite production from that back, and then you hope to get running backs later and cobble together a running back too. Hope that somebody hits from a group of players, maybe a couple of them hit. You get a running back 2 and a flex out of that. So once I do get one of those hero running backs in the early first round, I am not going to go for a running back for quite a while. Maybe the 6th round, if James Conner is there, I expect Conner to, again, lead the charge and aging back, coming off a career-type year in a better situation, better offense. Also, Ramondre Stevenson, the Patriots should be healthier on offense than they were last year. Stevenson may not play a lot on third downs with Antonio Gibson there, but he has shown that when he's healthy, he can definitely produce at a higher level at a cheap draft cost. If I can't get one of them, I'll wait a little bit longer. I'll take a flyer on Najee Harris, and I know Jalen Warren is there, but we're drafting later. The running backs will have more and more question marks, right? But again, Arthur Smith running the offense didn't go so well in Atlanta. The pieces in Pittsburgh are a bit better to work with in terms of defenses respecting the quarterback. Harris should be significantly used, as will Warren. Also, can't get them. Raheem Mostert, he gets about 215 touches a year with Miami. He's in that timeshare with Devon Achane. But nonetheless, Mostert will get you a floor. So still, again, I'm looking now for some later running backs because I'm not just going to take one other running back to pair with my hero. Conner is injury history, and, Stevenson too, missed him. So I'm going to look for a few running backs after the 9th round, hoping I can get 1, 2, maybe even all 3 of them, depending on how my draft falls and what positions I need. But these are running backs that are younger backs. They're in situations where if things shake right, they could have a dominant role in the backfield. Chase Brown of the Bengals comes to mind. Zach Moss has been kicked through 2 teams already, with the Bills gone, with the Colts gone. Zach Moss had moments, but Zach Moss is not a running back that teams covet. Chase Brown, limited action, showed well last year. Receiver for sure, can maybe be involved as a runner. I like Kendre Miller. Kamara was great for fantasy last year, but we talk about it on all the shows. Couldn't break tackles, couldn't get yards after contact, volume-based. Miller, 3rd-round draft pick last year, he may get an opportunity in a new offense under Clint Kubiak. And then Kimani Vidal of the Chargers might be able to target him as well. Gus Edwards is down a full yard per carry from his career norms. He's 28. He might be aging not so gracefully. J.K. Dobbins never stays healthy. Kimani Vidal, 6th-round draft pick, but he tested well. He was fast for his size, very athletic, downhill runner, could fit in with that Chargers offense. So again, the hero running back approach works. But here's draft strategy point number 1B. The running backs again, because I'm not going to get that hero running back if I'm drafting in the back half of the 1st round, or, if a Tyreek Hill is sitting there early and I decide to go that route. So let's look at 1B. So you miss out on McCaffrey, Breece Hall, or Bijan Robinson. So now, as I look at the running backs, the questions just mount very, very quickly. There are backs I can make great cases for, but there are always these little dings that I'm worried about. So right now, I am going to just wait until the 4th round or so to attack the running back position. I'm going to go for wide receivers early in this scenario, and if I'm going to take running backs with flaws, I'm going to take them later. I don't want the early round flawed running backs, because then I have to eat the opportunity cost that comes with that. So when I'm taking these running backs, I'm looking for somebody proven talent and production, an excellent chance at being the lead back and not losing it. So somebody on the depth chart is not really a threat. And I don't mind an aging running back here because, again, I've already gotten risky by waiting a number of rounds. So the two top players I'm looking for is Joe Mixon of the Texans. Averages 300 touches over the last few seasons, averaged about 50 catches. No competition. Dameon Pierce was terrible last year. Mixon's a compiler, not a great running back, but should see volume. Aaron Jones is the next one with the Minnesota Vikings. Missed 6 games and parts of others last year. The prior 4 years, he only missed 4 games. The Vikings have him. They have no reason to spot him, to keep him on the sidelines. Ty Chandler, they say, is in the mix. He's not a threat. Aaron Jones could see 3 down work. We saw him dominate the end of last season. So again, like, in those running backs are targets, but if I miss them, I mentioned these running backs in the last section, so I won't elaborate. James Conner, Ramondre Stevenson, Najee Harris, Raheem Mostert. These are all possible backs that could fit in here. And then again, those late round targets. You want late round targets when you're taking riskier running backs. And earlier I mentioned, go for the same guys. Chase Brown, Kendre Miller, Kimani Vidal, even throw in a couple late ones. Tyrone Tracy of the Giants could be a receiving back in that backfield if he can push Devin Singletary. Audric Estime of the Denver Broncos. Javonte Williams struggled with vision. Maybe the ACL was an issue in the return from that, but Estime could come in and be an early down workhorse role there. Draft strategy point number 2, the wide receivers. Now, again, the hero running back, if I get that, great. And if I get that hero running back, I'm definitely taking wide receivers, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. But I want those high producing wide receivers to give me that floor, to give me that ceiling. And there's a nice stable of these players. And so realistically, and I'm trying to start out with the draft, 3 receivers, maybe 4 early. And these are receivers, I'll quickly talk about them, who I'm targeting, but I'm not limited to them. A.J. Brown, first 8 games last year, almost 2,000-yard pace. The coaching was bad. This year that improves. Drake London, again, I'm holding out hope that with a new coach, a new quarterback, a real quarterback, Drake London could emerge. Chris Olave. Clint Kubiak brings in a new system with play action, giving Derek Carr maybe a little more time to throw, a lot of quick outs, quick hitches to Olave. DJ Moore, very undervalued this year. He's, for whatever reason, he's falling in ADP. I don't think people realize he's a bona fide superstar. Jalen Waddle, 1,300 yards 2 years ago. He was hurt a lot last year. Amari Cooper's another target. 5 starts with Deshaun Watson last year, 4 of them 90 yards. Christian Kirk, on pace for 1,200 yards again last year. Should be the lead receiver, even though they drafted Brian Thomas. Marquise Brown of Kansas City Chiefs, very versatile receiver in his 6th year. These are players to target. And from the 8th round on now, I want depth players that I really think could move into a much better role. Jackson Smith and Jigba, I think this year he passes Tyler Lockett. He becomes much more used in the new offense that's in Seattle. Jermaine Burton of the Bengals, he should play the slot. All the attention that has to get paid to Chase and Higgins. Burton should see room to operate. Michael Wilson of the Cardinals, great start to last season. Last 2 games, strong finish. Marvin Harrison's in. Give Wilson some easier attention. Wan'Dale Robinson super late. After week 13 bye, he looked like the player pre-ACL. Hey, if you enjoy videos like this, please consider hitting the like button and subscribe to the RotoWire Fantasy Football channel on YouTube. Also, check out all of our fantasy football content and rankings by getting a free 2-day trial. No credit card needed. Just go to rotowire.com/Jim to see all of our content. Draft strategy point number 3, the tight ends. Last year was the first time we didn't have a tight end score at least 297 PPR points. Sam Laporta led it, 234 points. There were 3 other tight ends within 14 points of that total. So this was not the year where that early tight end lapped the field. It was a number of them. And obviously Laporta got drafted super late. So there was no draft advantage, or you draft him, you made out great there. But you're only going to draft a tight end early if you believe that tight end's going to crush the field like Travis Kelce used to do. This year, I think there are 6 tight ends that could all be bunched up. So now the opportunity cost of taking a tight end early just doesn't make sense. I'd rather use those premium picks on running backs or receivers. So, look, if Mark Andrews falls in the fifth round, I do think with the injury last year threw us off, but Mark Andrews would be a good value there. If I want to go in the sixth round, I'm going to take one more shot on Kyle Pitts with a new coach and a new quarterback. Otherwise, just wait. Pat Fryermuth, tight end 12. I know that Kyle Pitts did little with Arthur Smith, but Jonnu Smith had a career year. Pat Fryermuth could be the number 2 target here. If it all falls apart and you can't get anybody, go real late. Take a shot on Luke Musgrave of Green Bay and watch the waiver wire. Draft point number 4, the quarterbacks. I can't fault anyone who's going to take that high pick on Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, maybe Mahomes. I get it. Floor, ceiling, third round pick. That's what you're going to do. I can't fault you. Personally, though, opportunity cost again. If I take that quarterback early, I'm missing out on the high end receivers, the high end running backs. I'm going to let those first 5 quarterbacks come off the board. I'll take note of how early or late that is, and I'm going to begin to look. But I'm really looking for a couple of quarterbacks this year. Dak Prescott, Dallas went super pass heavy after the bye last year, 29 points in the majority of his last 12 games, fantasy points that is. Kyler Murray, quarterback 90. Marvin Harrison's added to the weapon group. A year removed from ACL, he can run more. These are quarterbacks that I could get a little bit later, not super late, but they should give me very strong scoring. If I miss out on them, I can live with Jordan Love or Brock Purdy. They're more floor plays. I don't think I'll get the big ceiling Prescott and Murray up, but I'd be okay there. And if the managers in the league are taking 2 quarterbacks, I'll follow suit. My main target, Kirk Cousins, going around quarterback 18, take him a couple spots earlier. If you really, really miss out, Deshaun Watson, I know, he's not been very good, but he's been on pace for 400-yard rushing seasons in the small amount of time he played the last 2 years. So that rushing total does mean something.